Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Knife Chats with Tobias. Okay, I guess this is going to be a type of an open tag, and it's basically for you traditional knife guys out there, and it's break out those three knife patterns that you collect quite a few of, but they really just don't get the attention they deserve on your channel. Now, as you can see here, I've got 7 knives out here right now, and some of them you're looking at and going, wait, for instance right here, Scout knife, the 4-blade Scout knife. It would be hard for me to say, you mean that knife doesn't show up on your channel a lot? Yeah, it actually shows up on my channel a lot, but believe it or not, compared to the number of knives in my collection, this knife could show up a whole lot more on my channel, a whole lot more. I have so many of them, and if I were to go and introduce each one individually, I could easily have a year's worth or more of just one 4-blade camp knife after another showing up on the channel. So I could easily overwhelm you with the 4-blade camp knife. Close behind that is the large toothpicks. I have quite a few large toothpicks I have not shown on the channel. I'm not going to break them all out and overwhelm anyone with one toothpick after another. Man, I pretty much just overwhelmed people with all the medium toothpicks that I've been showing. And if I were to expand on the large toothpicks and start showing everything that is powder horn, which is what led me into collecting all sorts of powder horn frame knives, I could go on forever with powder horns and large toothpicks. That's how many of them I have. Same thing with Victorinox Swiss Army knives. Not just the 91 millimeters, but every size. It's something that I collect quite a few of. For quite a while, I was not showing Swiss Army knives on the channel because it was like, what am I going to say when you're looking at a Swiss Army knife? And Swiss Army Grizz can tell you the same thing, that the build quality and everything else is just one after another. They're pretty much how many times do you say excellent? How many times do you say perfect? When you're talking about the build quality of a Swiss Army knife before it gets redundant and crazy. So I try to space out these knives. I try to space out the large toothpicks, and I try and space out my camp knives because otherwise the channel would be the all camp knife channel or all toothpick channel, something like that. And there's quite a few other knives in my collection. And then, you've seen enough bartender knives recently, so I've got quite a few of those. It's one of my favorite patterns to collect. Bartender knives, Swiss Army knives, large toothpicks, camp knives. All of those are some of my favorite knives to collect all the time. But I have other knives that are also really big favorites, and they don't get the love and attention that these knives get, the camp knives and the toothpicks, and they also don't get as much attention as many other knives that show up on the channel. And maybe I need to fix that problem. But what we have in front of us now are 3 very interesting knives and very much different from each other. The one here is the TL29, or the electrician knife. Then we have a stiletto, and then finally we have a Marlin spike knife. All of these are some of my favorite knives, favorite to collect, and I've got quite a few of each of them. Not nearly as many as I do toothpicks or anything, but I do have quite a few of them, with probably Marlin spikes being either my 3rd or 4th most collected pattern in the collection. Now, I've probably been collecting Marlin spike knives for about 14 years or so. The first one I picked up was a white Smoothbone Marlin spike knife by Roughrider. I really did not even know much about the pattern before I got this one. This one is actually based off of the old Camillus 697 pattern, which had a jig Delrin handle on it. I have a couple of those in the collection, probably about 5 or 6 of those in the collection. But this is my white Smoothbone one by Roughrider. And I actually have 2 of these also. But this one I had scrimshaw work done on it, and that is the Mermaid of Warsaw. I have done a video on this knife already. And it's really a fun knife, you know. You've got the sheep foot blade, which is typical of a Marlin spike knife. And then the locking Marlin spike locks with the little lever here. You pull back on the lever, the lock breaks, and you can close the spike. This is one I picked up much more recently. Probably picked this up about 4 or 5 years ago. And this is one of those all stainless steel Marlin spike knives by West Marine. This one is stamped C-line. They were known as the C-line Marlin spike knives. And these are kind of hard to find these days. At one time, I'm sure they were, you know, in that $6 to $10 range. These days they're a little bit more. You see, they're West Marine USA. These are made in the United States. They also had these knives, a similar version of this knife that was made in Japan, West Marine Japan, with the C-line marking on there. In this case, the Marlin spike does not lock with the clevis. The clevis is just there. But it's a pretty cool knife. And I've got all sorts of Marlin spike knives. I used to do quite a few videos on them, but I have ignored them until recently. Recently, I just did that video on Camillus nautical knives. You might have seen it already, in which I talked about, well, the 697 and a couple other patterns from Camillus. And chances are you'll be seeing more Marlin spike knives in the future on my channel. I haven't done any videos on them for a while, and I think I really need to bring it back and start doing it. Now, I have recently done a video on the TL29 here. This one wasn't featured in it. This is one with the metal shield. It would have probably been made early in World War II or just before World War II. And these are your basic electrician knives. You see there, this one's by Camillus. That's another thing I do. I like to collect Camillus knives. But I've been working on something for Klein Tools, a Klein Tool video for a while. That'll be coming out soon. And when I do that, you're going to see all sorts of electrician knives because, well, that's what Klein Tool made a lot of, electrician knives. And so I hope to get that going soon. But beyond that, I also want to just show off more of my electrician knives, both modern and older ones, as I get them. And so you'll probably be seeing more electrician knives. But again, this is one of those favorite patterns of mine that just don't get the love on the channel that they deserve. You know, the electrician knives and the Marlin spike knives. And finally, the last of my underrepresented knives are my stilettos. I've got quite a few stilettos. You saw the what was it? The Lucky Lady stiletto that Skip the Show was showing off. Well, I've got other ones like that. I've got you know, some of them that have all sorts of plastic handles and stuff. I also have some with wood handles, different sizes. My preferred size is the ones that are 5 inches closed with a 4-inch blade. And I really like the ones with the slender bayonet style blade, like this, the Weehawk blade. That's my favorite look on a stiletto. And I don't mind the ones that are the lock back with the little bump there. That's the kind I prefer. You press down, release the blade, it closes, ratchets around a little bit. You've got the stop here, and then the next stop is around the 2/3 mark, and then all the way open. You know, that's the way they tend to go. And well, I like stilettos, and one of the reasons I like stilettos so much is because, well, the first knife I ever got I should say ever found, is this one here, a little 4-inch closed stiletto. Has what's often referred to as a German style blade. You notice though, this is stainless Italy. This one was made, I believe, in either China or Taiwan. It's by Krieger, which is a Bud K company. Bought it because, well, it does have the cracked ice, which is, you know, to me that is almost classic stiletto. Cracked ice covers on a stiletto. This one, however, has a wood handle. It was cracked. I repaired it. I found this in the high school that I attended. It was on the stairs. Somebody else lost it. I found it. I've had it ever since. Carried it for the longest time. Not in the world's greatest shape, but you know, this is my first knife, so why wouldn't I like stilettos? And then, well, you always have the other fancier ones, you know, your switchblade. The ones that got got switchblades outlawed, you know, the Italian stilettos. Really fast action. You've got the bolster release on it that pops the little button there loose. And notice this one just swings loose. It doesn't have the 3 stops in there. Why would you have that on something that locks? Got the button sticking out there. You press the button, it flips open. You have a safety here, and the safety will lock this button once it's closed. And now you can press the button all you want. It will not open in your pocket. Slide down, it opens. So, you know, who doesn't want a switchblade? And if you're going to have one, you should have one that's a stiletto, it seems. So there you go. Those are 3 knife patterns that just don't get the love that they deserve to get on my channel. The TL29, the electrician knife, of any type of blades and everything else, stilettos, and Marlin spike knives. They're not getting the love that they should have been receiving recently, but you might be seeing them a little bit more in the future. And if you've got a few knives on your channel that you just haven't been showing enough of, why don't you share them now with us and let us see what knives you feel that you have in your collection deserve a little more time on your channel. Let me take just a second to thank you once again for dropping by and spending a few minutes here at Knife Chats with the Pious. I really do appreciate it, and I do appreciate any comments that you leave. So please remember to give me that thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you'll know when the next episode is up and running. Thanks again for dropping by. Really do appreciate your time here.